Oop, there we are. Hey, I hope the audio is working today. Last week it didn't work so well, but it looks like I've got things going here and we're doing all right. My name is Amanda Bonanza. Let's try that again. My name is Amanda Bonanza, and this is Mediocre Poker. And as you can see, there's a game going. Uh, I'm going to be playing No Limit, or not No Limit. I'm going to be playing Pot Limit Omaha. And I'm not gonna be really watching the stream. I gotta do what I gotta do here. I'm gonna be watching the thing. Oops. See, I'm still learning, getting the mechanics of this. I don't have a producer on this one. I'm kind of doing everything by myself, and I'm not a seasoned streamer. But we are going to be playing Pot Limit Omaha today. That's how this works. And I will explain kind of Pot Limit Omaha as we go when I get the chance. But as it is, I'm probably just going to assume that you know how to play, and we're gonna kind of go from there. So right now we're just waiting. I jumped back in. I jumped in the game just to get in there. I missed one big blind. So usually the max buy-in is 100 big blinds. You want to buy in for the maximum amount, and the reason that is because that gives you, if you have confidence in your playing, you want to assume that you're here to win, and the most you can win is what you've got in your stack. You can't win more than that. If your stack is the limit of the amount of money you can win. Now if you get like 5 other people playing with you, you can get 5 all that match your stack. You can get 5 times your stack, but that's unlikely. Usually by the end of a big stacked thing, you're going to have one other person, or maybe maybe a few max. Like it's hard to say. So hang on, I am going to do some adjustments here just for my own well-being. There we go. I didn't have the chats up last time, and that was a mistake. So here I am, and let's take a look at what's going on. So Pot Limit Omaha, if you don't know what it is, if you don't know how to play it, it is a poker game wherein you get dealt 4 cards, and eventually, ultimately, if all the betting gets matched, you're going to show down with 5 community cards on the board that you may use 3 of. You must use 2 from your hand. You may only use 2 from your hand. So it has to be 2 from your hand, 3 from the board, out of a total of 9 cards to choose from. So that right there makes it different from Texas Hold'em, and it's a big part of how people that don't really know how to play Omaha or inexperienced with Omaha, they make mistakes, because in Texas Hold'em, it's the 2 cards in your hand and the 5 cards on the board, and you can have the best 5 card hand of any of combination of those. So you can have 1 from your hand, 2 from your hand, 0 from your hand. Best 5 card hand wins no matter what. You're not going to win much if your board's on the hand or your hand's on the board, but it's technically possible. Like, you could still split the pot. But what I mean by that is on the board, like, for example, there's 3 hearts here. If you had 2 hearts in your hand, you'd have a flush. Now, if there were 4 hearts on the board, you would only need 1 heart in your hand to make that flush. Oh, we're in the game. We're going to start talking about the game now. We are the big blind, and the person next to us, who's in the cutoff position right there, that's the one next to the right of the button is the cutoff, brought in for, just right? Doesn't make sense that we're in the cutoff. Oh, these 2 people aren't here. Okay, that's what's going on. They just bought in. That's what's happening. I was confused. So we have a good hand. We've got a suited ace and high cards. These are 4 cards that connect. We're not only gonna we're going to call that. That's an early position raise. We're going to call. We're out of position, and there's no one else in the hand. We now hit trip queens. So we're doing very well. Our hand is pretty much the nuts at this point. I mean, they could have 2 5s, they could have queen 5. It's possible, but we're going to check that because we're out of position just to see what they do. They brought in, so okay, they checked it back. So now there's a 5 and a 4 with a queen. So that means we do have a straight draw as well. If a 3 comes, we hit our straight. If we hit an ace, a 10, a 2 comes, we get a full house. That's awesome for us, but we're still going to bet big because we want to bloat the pot. We've got a really good hand and we want the pot to be big. And so they're either going to give it to us now or they're going to call it. And now we didn't hit a full house, but unless they have 4 5 or queen 4, we're in really good shape. So I'm still going to go ahead and bet the pot. I'm going to see what they do. Usually when someone does that, they've got a piece of it. They probably had a 5 or maybe they have a pair in their hand. It's a good chance they have aces they brought in. And they don't like it. They're going to fold and we're going to get the 18 big blinds and we are starting out up, which is great. So now we're on the small blind, which is the worst position to be in, but we have an exquisite hand. Suited ace, suited king. Terrific hand. We're going to raise that up. That is a raising hand from the small blind to the cutoff that brought in, and they're short stacked. So we're just going to raise them 3 times their bet here. We're not going to bet the pot. We're just going to raise it up. They're going to call because they brought in almost always. And now we hit top pair. So that's good. So we've got kings. We don't have clubs. So the clubs are a threat. So since we have the top pair, this hits our range really well. And it doesn't hit it. Well, it kind of hits theirs, but they called. So we are going to bet, and we're going to bet the pot, both because we think we have the best hand. Oh, we're going to bet 3/4 pot, both because we think we have the best hand and we want to stop those clubs going on. We don't want them to chase clubs. And, well, that's not true. Now we're going to bet the pot. We're going to make them play because that's most of their stack. So they're either going to fold or they're going to go all in. And so they fold and we get a nice hefty pot, 2 on the row. We're doing great. Got to be careful about that clock too. I'm going to be explaining things, but it's good for me to think through them. So this, not a good hand. 10 king suited is okay. It's a good Omaha hand, or it's a good Texas Hold'em hand. We're not playing Texas Hold'em. We're playing Omaha. We have 4 cards. The 4 doesn't match and the 5 doesn't match. Even though we're on the button, when people limp like that, they just call the big blind. That means they're going to stand no matter what. So this is going to go at least 2 or 3 ways to the pot. If we call here or we raise, it's going to go 3 ways to the pot. Doesn't matter. We can't raise it enough. I'm getting out. We don't want to play that hand. It's just not a good hand. Hands that are good in Omaha are high cards. And essentially the main thing you can take away is that you want all 4 of your cards to work together in some way. The more they work together, the better your Omaha hand. So example, a pair of aces is always good, but if you've got ace, ace, 9, 4 with no suits, 4 different suits, well, or even the 9 and the 4 are together, but the aces aren't suited. That's some of the worst ace hands because you can't do anything with that 9. The ace and the 9's not going to help you. You could technically make the wheel with the 4, but it's not great. So we've got another double suited hand. Double suited hands are very good, but not when you have low cards. Queen high flush, pair of 5s, bad. Now, something about pairs in your hand, something you should know, this applies to Texas Hold'em as well, is when you're playing pairs, you have a 1 in approximately 7.5%, 1 out of 7.5 odds to flop a set. So 1 in 7.5 are the odds that you'll flop a set. So 1 out of every 7.5 times you're going to flop a set, meaning I would have flopped 3 5s if I flopped the set. That's how you do that. And the difference between trips, when we had that earlier, where I had a queen in my hand and there were 2 queens on the board, well, people see trips coming. They don't see sets coming a lot of the times. Most of these days, people are aware of them and they get wary when they see when people bet large on a board that doesn't have anything going on. This is a bad hand. 3 4 5 king, terrible hand. Rule of thumb, you generally don't want to play any hand with a 4 or lower. Any card lower than a 5 in your hand, with the exception of like a rundown to the wheel, which is ace 2 3 4 5, and a rundown is 4 cards in your hand that are next to each other that any of them can make straights. Those are called rundown hands. Like they're next to each other, like ace 2 3 4. Oh, you should go backwards. 4 3 2 ace. 10 9 8 7. That's a rundown hand. So now we're in the big blind, and this person just called from the small blind. So we don't have a good hand, but we're in the hand already. So we're just going to check and see what happens. And look at that. We hit a top pair and we have a flush draw. So we're going to bet this, and we're going to raise this if they bet. We're just going to bet the pot since the pot's nothing at all. And when you have a good hand, you just want to put money in the pot. At these stakes, you're going to get called. So just put the money in the pot, load it up if you have it. Don't be shy. Just put the money in if you've got the hand and hope that one of them is going to call you. And they do. A lot of times the players at this level, they can't help themselves. They need to see if you have it or not. And they never seem to learn. But we'll see. It's not true across the board. We're also shorthanded. There's only 3 people in this hand, so in this game. So that means we're going to be playing looser. We're going to be playing more hands. This hand still not good enough. Even though we're loose, we're on the small blind, which is, like I said, the worst position, and we're still going to go. It's still not good enough, even shorthanded. We're just going to get rid of it. We don't care that we lost half a big blind. All right, 10 7 6 2. That's also a bad hand. And since we don't have any money in the pot, we're just going to fold it and wait for a better one. So when you're 3-handed like this, you're going to play the most hands from the big blind because you have the big blind in the pot already. And if anyone calls you or raises you, you're getting a discount. Now we're on the big blind and we have a good hand, pair of queens with a jack and a 7. They all match, not quite. The 7's a little dangling, but it can make a straight with the jack, so it's all right. This isn't an amazing hand, so we're not going to raise that. When we see someone raised, that means they have the potential to have the best hand, especially since it's a pot, you can only raise the pot. So now we hit 3 queens. That's great. We're not going to check this because we want to get money in the pot and we want to discourage someone calling 2 hearts. So we're just going to put money in the pot right away. We're going to bet half pots because we want to kind of keep them around. But look at that. They raised us. So we know we currently have the best hand and we block the jack. So that means they probably have aces. They might even have aces with hearts. So we're going to raise them again and we're going to pot it. We're going to make them pay for this. And they called and their hand did not come. We still have the best possible hand. We have the nuts. We're potting it because we don't want to see those 2 manifest, those spades and those hearts manifest. So now we win the pot. I promise you they had kings or aces in their hand. That's how people bet. And that's okay. That's great. We're doing great. We have been playing for not very many. We haven't lost a hand that we've played, and we're up. Now we're in the small blind with ace 10 8 2. Now that might look like a good hand, but it's not. The ace isn't suited, and 3 to a suit in your hand is actually worse than 2 to a suit. And so having 10 2, if that ace or that 2 or that 10 was a club, not a club, but a spade or a heart, that would be better for our hand because this blocks the flush. So what I mean by that is, remember I said you have to have 2 from your hand and 3 from the board? Well, when that's the case, you can't have that third one help you. Like you can't bring in a third card. So that means there's one less spade to play with. We're not playing this bad hand. That's the same thing I was saying as before when we had the queen. I meant to get to it. When we had the queens and the jack, we had queen, queen, jack in our hand and queen, jack flop. Now you would think, oh, I've got a full house because I've got queen, queen, jack. But you can't use three from your hand. So you could either have queen, jack, or you could have queen, queen, queen. And so that's a better hand than queen, jack. However, if a jack had come, then we would have had jacks over queens. And plus we block the jack, which means they couldn't have tripped jacks, which is actually not as good, but it's still okay. Anyway, there's a raise to us. We're double suited, but like I said, dangling three, that three is not helping anybody, and suits to the nine and the jack are not good. So we're not playing this. Besides, both of these showed interest. When someone brings in and they showed interest, and you can say, yeah, now we have a straight draw and a flush draw, but it's not a good, it's not a great straight draw. It's a low straight draw, and it's not a good flush draw. There's too many things. It would be fine in this instance. So maybe we should have played it, But I'm trepidatious, especially when both players have interest. And now with the board pairing, that just opens the door. So now even the ace high flush isn't the nuts if it comes at all. We also don't have clubs. We didn't hit our straight. Like we're drawing dead and they're betting large. So that tells us that if when someone bets large at these stakes, people rarely bluff here at these stakes. So that tells us they have a good hand. So we'd be drawing to not the nuts. And in pot limit Omaha, you really just don't want to do that, especially at the micro stakes, which is what we're playing. Ace 2-3-2. Now that actually is a good hand because, well, it's not great. We're still going to play it. Yeah, we're still going to play it. It's a suited ace. We're going to raise it up. It's a suited ace and it's double suited, and we've got three to the wheel. The wheel is ace 2-3-4-5. That's a straight. It's the lowest straight you can make, but it's nice because you also have an ace in your hand. So it's like it's still a good one. We missed so hard. We couldn't miss. We could miss worse in the sense that we do have a backdoor flush draw, but that's literally all we have, and that's a wet board. So, and we're out of position. We're checking. We're not going to do much. If they bet, we're pretty much just leaving. Like especially if they bet big. So we'll see what this player does on the dealer button. They called us. They didn't re-raise us. So they think that we have a good hand, and we checked. So that makes them want to bet the pot. So they could have any number of things, but even if they have a 7, we are pretty much toast. So we're just getting out. We're going to let them have it. We missed the flop very, very hard there. Well, we still had 2 backdoor flush draws, but one of them wasn't good. Ace, queen, queen 2 with suited queen. That's a great hand, especially on the button. We're going to raise that to the max. We're going to see what they do. So they called, which means they don't have their best hands. They don't have aces. They don't have kings. They don't have they don't have double suited high cards. That's what we know about this person and this person also. Now we hit an ace and we have a flush draw. We have an excellent hand here. And we've got a chance at lots of good hands. So our hand can improve in a lot of ways. A lot of cards could come. Ace, any club, any queen makes our hand way better. A 3 makes our hand better. A 5 makes our hand better. We're betting the pot. We've got a terrific, terrific hand. We have a lot of equity, and this is a game of equity. Equity means what are your chances of having the best hand at the end of all the betting? We have so much equity here. And that's how you have to play Omaha. Is you pretty much just if all you do at pot limit Omaha is just understand equity and bet your equity, you will win at pot limit Omaha in the long run at any stakes. At any stakes. I mean, maybe not the top tier super pro stakes. Like you're gonna get like Phil Ivey's still gonna beat you. No, I mean, I have aspirations to be a professional poker player, and I really would like that to be the case. But the pros terrify me. Like I listen to how they talk, and I know how they think, and like I'm not even close to their level. But that's the beautiful thing about poker is you don't have to be. You don't have to beat Daniel Negreanu. You don't have to beat Phil Ivey. You don't have to beat Jonathan Little. You don't have to beat Phil Hellmuth. You don't have to beat Jungle Man. You don't have to beat any of those guys. You don't even have to play with them. In fact, if you see them, don't play. Don't go to their table. Like you want to sit at tables where people are worse than you. And that's plenty of people. So that's the thing is like a lot of these guys, there's a guy that streams a lot. His name's Brad Owens. And there's a lot of famous poker streamers like Rampage and all Rampage Poker and all that. Brad Owen is a big streamer and people recognize him from his streams. And they see him and they're like, oh, I want to play against Brad Owen. I can beat him. But like, I don't want to play against Brad Owen. He's incredibly good. Like, I would much rather not. I would much rather go up to Brad Owen and be like, hey, recognize you. Not going to sit at your table. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to be like, yeah, smart. Look at this. So this is what's called a 3-bet. Someone raised, and then this person raised their raise. That means they have almost always, we're not calling this, by the way, but we're a terrible hand, and we're in the small blind. That means in these stakes, that almost certainly means aces. I almost never see anyone 3-bet at these tables without aces in their hands, or at least super good high card double suited aces, kings, aces with aces and kings together, like double suited. I mean, that's an amazing hand. Ace 2 5 4. I don't like it. And the reason I don't like it is that's a dry ace. And we've got two people, one person raised and another person called. So we're just gonna let that go and wait for a better hand. You want to avoid multi-way pots as much as possible. Look at that. We have a great straight draw there, but there's 3 spades and we don't have any spades. So we hit our straight. That gives you that's a dangerous situation to be in, especially if you're drawing to a straight against betting, because what that means is we would have reverse implied odds. And what that means is those are the kind of hands, hands like this are the kind of hands, even if we made our straight, if we flop the straight, if that was 2 3 4 or any combination of what we have in our hand, besides with the 3, like if that was 2 3 4, whatever it is, see, now we hit our straight. The problem is this person's betting, which means there's a reasonable chance that they have spades. And remember, like, we're playing, you get 4 cards. There's only 52 cards in the deck. There's 5 people here. So 5 times 4 is 20. So that means 20 cards, 2/5 of the deck are dealt out. So the spades are there. Like, not always, people don't always hang on to them. But that's why you raise. That's why you have to raise pre-flop, is to get the bad hands out so they don't randomly catch some random thing that could just devastate your good hand. Now we have ace, queen, jack, 3. The 3 is not super great, but it is connected to the ace, and the ace and queen are terrific, and it's a suited ace, so we're potting it. We got a caller here. Remember, when they call, they don't have great cards. They have anywhere from mediocre to bad to pretty good cards. Their ranges are usually pretty big, but what we know for sure, they don't have ace ace, they don't have king king, almost always. So now we flop top pair with an ace kicker. There are spades, which we block spades, so that's good. Oh no, we have two pair, queens and 3s, and it says us right here too, right in the side. So we're gonna bet this. In fact, we're gonna raise this if we get bet. So if player 4 here decides they want to bet the pot or what they want to do, we're raising them. But they're not going to, but we are going to raise large for a number of reasons. We have the most chips. We want to discourage anyone else to play, and we don't want those clubs to we don't want those diamonds to come, and we have what we think is the best hand right now. And that person didn't even hesitate. I put them on a diamond draw is what I do. And so and that's going to discourage these other two, or it might encourage them, because when someone goes all in, people like to call because they know they're not going to have to bet against them, but they are going to have to bet against us. And they don't care about that. We can't raise because their all in isn't enough to double the bet, so we just have to call and see a flop. That didn't that's what's called a brick. That didn't change the board at all. We still have likely the best hand. There's a chance that they could have a better two pair. They could have queens and sixes. They could have a set. But what's almost more likely is they're probably on a diamond draw. Since we block the queen and we have two pair. We're just gonna put them all in. We're gonna see what they do. They have a diamonds. And like I said, diamond draw. I don't know what this person had. They beat us somehow. Oh, they had 3 6s. Let's look at our hand history. So let's take a look at that there. So now we see what they had, because it goes by really fast. This is a very good hand, by the way. Jack, King, Queen, 10. That's a rundown with a suit, and it's all Broadway. Broadway is Ace, 10, King, Ace, King, Queen, Jack, 10. High cards, face cards, Broadway. That last hand, player seat 1 had Jack, 6, 6, 9. That's not a super good hand. The suited Jack, they played it. They called our raise poorly, but they flopped a set of 6s, so they beat us because we still only had our 2 pair. We still played that hand well, and that's what happens, that's fortunate that it was the short stack that had it, not the big stack. So we still came out ahead, but we didn't win as much as we would have liked. We're going to raise this. This is a very good hand. We're going to 3-bet it. It's a good hand, so we want money in the pot. We also want to discourage other people from calling. We want to go heads up if we can, always. But we've got a caller here, which means they're almost certainly going to call. And we didn't hit anything, and it missed us so hard, which is terrible because we're out of position. So that's pretty much it. We're pretty much going to throw in the towel with this one, especially if they bet the pot. That means they almost certainly have an ace. We don't have clubs. We don't have any draws. We could hit runner straight. Stupid. Just bad luck. Sometimes. We played it correctly. We were maybe a little overly aggressive on 3-betting that, but that's a high card rundown with a suit. Yeah, I don't have any regrets. That wasn't a bad decision. And sometimes, 2 out of 3 times you're not going to hit the flop. That's just how it goes. And a little small blind 3 to a 3 suit. Yes, we block ourselves. No good. Look at that. Terrible. Great fold there. If you are here, if you're on the stream, I'd love if you just popped in the chat, said hi. I know you're here. Otherwise, I'll talk to the air and you can watch it later. I think people do watch it later. I hope so. Hope my voice is here. Last week it wasn't. Went on for an hour. I also have been on a downswing lately. I've been on a losing streak, and those always suck. I don't think I've been playing poorly. It's just, sometimes you just keep not hitting the flop, and that's how it's been for me. We don't have a good hand here. King, Queen, 7, 3. That dangling 3 is terrible. That 7's terrible. We block our own suit, and it's not even to the nuts. Not even playing for the minimum. And everyone's in the pot. People think that when a lot of people are in the pot, that makes the pot bigger and it gives you better pot odds. And technically that's correct. And so I'd be putting 1 big blind in to win 5.2 big blinds. So I'm getting 5 to 1 on my money. But you have to expect, like I said, when there's 6 players and every player gets 4 cards, that's half the deck. That's almost half the deck that's dealt out. So if you don't have a good hand and there's 6 players in the hand, someone's got a good hand. And this isn't a good hand. Yeah, we would have hit top pair with a good kicker. We would have had a backdoor straight draw and a backdoor flush draw, but it's still not worth it. I mean, in retrospect, like you can flop quads anytime you have a pair, and you can flop quads at any time. Like at any with any hand, you could flop quads, and it doesn't mean you should play every hand. But there's a reason that people don't play every hand. There's a reason that the good players, like it's funny. Like you get into games like Omaha. One of the things that people make fun of with Texas Hold'em. Oh, we would have had a killer hand here, by the way. We would have probably almost certainly won this pot. But we didn't play it, and I don't regret it. One of the things about Texas Hold'em is a joke, saying they call it Texas Fold'em because you fold a lot. What people don't understand is you should always fold a lot in every poker game. There's not a single variation of poker that you shouldn't fold 70% of your hands overall. Like you just should. You want your VPIP to be, well, maybe like, yeah, no, about 75, 80, actually, 80%. You're gonna fold about 80% of your hands. Ace, Jack, 9-4, bad hand. Fold. Um, you just generally want to do that. That's the GTO way. You want your VPIP, which is voluntary put in pot, to be around 20. For six-handed, you want to do even less if it's nine-handed or more. You want it to be a good professional VPIP. Should linger between like 17 and 25, depending on how loose the game is. It's going to vary depending on what cards you get and all that. But like, I mean, that's generally a professional VPIP is about 17 to 25. Um, any more than that, you're playing too many hands. You're playing too loose. You have a wide range, and you're vulnerable to getting beat a lot more. And you're going to be playing a lot more hands with reverse implied odds. Once again, we flopped a goddamn good hand here, so we're getting really lucky on these flops. That doesn't mean we should play bad hands, but since we aren't seeing anyone three bet, and we're only seeing callers, we should probably widen our range a little more. So I think we're going to start doing that. We're also big stacked. We have 175 big blinds. We have the most at the table. We can start widening our range a little bit because we don't feel like we're going to get three bet and blown off of it, and we can beat a lot of these players in post. So and we're hot. We're running hot. So when you're running hot, play. And we're going to check this terrible, terrible hand that they didn't bother. But look at that. We flop a flush. So we're going to raise. We're putting money in the pot no matter what they do. We're potting it, potting it, potting it. They're probably just going to fold. They're going to check. We're going to bet the pot. We'll put a little Hollywood in there. And we'll pretend like we're thinking about it. We'll get it down to 21 seconds there. And then we'll just bet the pot. We'll see what they do. Because we waited that few seconds that maybe, they're not sure. Maybe they have it, maybe they don't. I mean, there's a chance they could have a better flush than us because we don't have a very good flush, but when it's heads up, your flush is almost always good. And if someone beats you with a better flush, they'll tell you because they'll be betting harder. They'll re-raise you and all that. And so that's when you have to start being worried. But you have to assume you've got the best hand when you've got a flush and you put money in the pot until someone wants to also put money in. And then that's when you're in trouble. 3, 4, 5, 4 double suited is actually a good hand. It's suited and it's a rundown and it's double suited. And even though they're low cards, it's not great in small blind. But like I said, we can widen our range a little bit. We should three better fold from the small blind. We really should. But I am going to make the call here, and we're going to call. And we're going to see what happens. Because this is the kind of hand where if we do hit our flop, we're good. Like if we hit a full house here, no one's going to see it coming. And like what's not good is if we hit our flush. Our flushes suck. But if we hit our straight, we're good. We hit our pairs, we're good. If we hit our set, we're good. And look at that. We missed pretty hard. We had the wheel and Broadway came, and so no thank you. Sunk cost. It was a loose call, it really was. that would have been a great button hand, but either way, it would have been a fold here, and it is. And I am going to go ahead and take a little break. I'm going to sit out the next hand, even though we'd be on the button, because I have to pee. I will be back in about 2-3 minutes. I gotta take off my mic here. I'm not gonna put the weight screen on since it's you can still see it. You can still see it happening. You can see how the other people play, and if you are in the chat, you see anything that I miss while I'm in the bathroom, then let me know. Oh, look at that! What a beautiful hand to come back to. Oh, absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, we're running hot today. That's great. Oh, we're gonna raise that right up. We're gonna 3-bet that. Double suited to the ace and the king. Yeah. The 6 isn't lovely, but it's suited to the king, and that's just fine. We got probably 2 callers. Remember, they don't have. We're blocking the aces and the kings anyway. Oh, look at that! Well, we're gonna pot it and put them all in because they're gonna call. They're gonna fold. Ace, ace, king, 10. Well, they did hit their 10, but we got the flush. So we're gonna take that. That was a terrible hand that they had. And that's why you bet big when you have a good hand, because they will call you with absolute trash like that. They thought they had a good hand because they don't know what they're doing. So we're going to mark them as a fish. We'll see if they come back. 4-bet all in. Oh, we've got a bad hand here. We're folding it. 4-bet all in with garbage. Give him a fish mark. Little fish there. That's our little fish. And they're to our right, which is terrific. That's just the easiest money ever. So look at what they had. 8, 8, king, 10. That's not the worst hand. Like, it's not a terrible hand, but a pair of eights isn't good. But you can tell that they're thinking in Texas Hold'em because they're thinking, oh, king 10's pretty good, which it isn't in Texas Hold'em. It's not a great hand. King 10 offsuit. Ace, ace, jack, jack with a suited ace. What do you think we're going to do here? You know it. We're going to raise no matter what. We'd 4-bet this hand. We'd 5-bet this hand. We go all in with this hand. We're going to go ahead and bet that. We'll see if we get any raisers or callers. I doubt it. I doubt we'll get raised, but we'll probably get called. I'd love to get raised. That would be wonderful. And we just get 2 callers. We hit trip jacks. We do not have the hearts. We're going to pot it. We want to discourage people from calling. We want well, not necessarily. What we want is we want them to pay for their draws. We want to make them have to be so confident in their draws. But remember, we block the ace. So the chances of them having the ace are significant. They're halved. There's only 2 aces left in the deck. We've got 2 of them. Now look at that. We have a straight flush draw and a full house draw and a flush draw and set. We have a monster here and they have nothing, but we're still putting as much as we can in the pot. We have so much equity and we've got a monster here and we hit the nut flush. So I'm going to put them in for their 1.2 big blinds. We're going to take all of it. This is a bad hand, and even though we're only up against that person, we have just absolute garbage here. We're folding it. We don't want anything to do with that. We don't want to put any more money in the pot. It's a bad hand. Five, three, jack, nine. Would you say that's a good hand or not? I would say not even on the button. That's a bad hand. We're not going to play it. Remember, any card lower than a 5, you generally don't want to play, especially if it's dangling, doesn't connect to anything. I mean, there's just, what are we gonna, what could even, look at this flop. What flop could come that would make this a good hand? Jack, jack, 9, jack, 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 9, 9, 9, 9, 9, jack, like the fluke 3, 3, 5, you know. Even then, are we still super confident that we have the best hand? Yeah, we're pretty good. But like, I mean, even if we hit 2 pair, let's say 9s and 5s came. Like, are we happy with that? Even if it was 2 9s on the board, would we be happy with that instead of 8s? We would. But like I said, it's like there's not many hearts. Oh, look at how we're running so hot right now. Like it's nice to see. When you see hands this good, it's hard to lose. It's hard to lose with great hands. It really is. Especially when people are calling you. We have a great straight draw. We don't have we're betting it. Let's put half pot here. We have good equity. We don't have great equity. Someone could easily have a king, easily have king 2, jack 2, 2 pair. But we've got clubs. We've got 2 backdoor flush. We've got a backdoor flush draw, and look at half pot was good enough to do it. Also, that king was good for our range, and it was. Jack, jack, 5, 8 is not a good hand. People think hands like this are good. Pair of jacks, good, right? No, not right. But we don't have to, we can just, look at that. We flop a straight. Oh my God, 6, 7, 8, 9, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's the low to the straight, but a 10 comes, we've got the straight to the jack, and we've got a straight flush draw. So backdoor straight flush draw, but I mean, we got to bet it, right? Let's pot it. Let's see what happens. Let's get the money in. Get the money in. Oh, we got raised. So they could have 8-10. Easily. They could easily have 8-10. Well, we do block the 8, though. Let's call it and see what happens. Now our flush came, and it's the ace, so let's see what they do when we check. We're calling. We're not folding. They didn't even bet it. So we're going to pot it. There's a chance they have a better flush than us. There is. But if we lose, we lose. Instead, we're just going to take a nice big pot from everybody. And this is bad. We're folding. Bad hand, fold. And this is it. This is how you play pot limit Omaha. Now, I am running hot, but I hope what I'm saying makes sense. Think about what your opponents have based on how they bet, based on what you see when you get to the showdown. Make notes. Remember, be aggressive when it makes sense. But if you take nothing else away, bet your equity. This is a game where you bet your draws. You have to bet your draws. And so many players, especially at the low and the micro stakes, they don't bet their draws. They chase their draws. And that is the exact wrong way to play pot limit Omaha. It's also the wrong way to play Texas Hold'em. You should be betting your good draws. That's how you bluff. Like people think, oh, I'm going to bluff because I have nothing. So ha ha ha. That is one way to bluff, but bluffing without equity is kind of silly. Because remember, if you don't have a good hand, that means someone else at the table does. King, queen, 4, 2, fold, especially to a raise. So because they raised in, they could have anything. They have their best hands. This person, because they called that, doesn't have their best hand. So they could have ace, 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 king, king, double suited Broadway. Lots of high pairs, lots of combinations of high stuff. I think who knows what they have though. People do all sorts of weird stuff at these stakes, but they're betting anyway. They're betting 5-3-9, so they could have a pair of jacks, pair of aces. They're not betting like they have aces. The aces should bet the pot here. But I mean, you honestly never know with these players. But here, this kind of board where it's very, very, very dynamic or wet, a lot of cards could come that changes what the nuts are. 3 could come, a 9 could come, a 5 could come, any club, any spade, a 4. Like, like all these things, cards could come that's called a wet board. And you want to, when there's a wet board with not a lot that don't have strengths, you want to bet big. You want to bet big on wet boards, and you want to bet smaller on dry boards. But that's like in the GTO world. In these stakes, like I said, in Omaha, just bet your equity. If you've got good equity, bet it. And if you don't, then just don't put money into the pot. That's another big mistake that people make. They're like, oh, well, I'm in the pot. How can I win the pot? It's like you can't win every pot. And it's better to lose a small pot than to lose a big pot. We only have a pair of eights. We have a terrible hand. We're just checking it. Even if we had a queen here, we would check it. Now we have a very good hand because now we have 3 2s, but there's a flush out there. But we're still going to bet it because the pot's small, so we think we're good. If we'll find out if a flush is there, if spades are there, or they'll just give the pot to us because they're afraid of the spades. And that's what happens. And that's why you always raise, because I would have thrown that hand away if they had raised me even one big blind. I probably wouldn't have played that hand. 2, 6, 8, queen, terrible hand. I don't want to play that even on the small blind. Even just heads up. Ace, 10, 3, 9, suited ace. That's not a great hand, but we are on the button and we're big stacked. So we'll bring it in. And we're not getting 3-bet, so we can bring that in. Not a super good hand, but it is a suited ace. 2 to Broadway, 2 to a wheel. It's got equity. And we hit a wheel draw. Problem is it's not a great one. We don't have the diamonds. We don't have much else. So let's check around. We're still going to bet it because it checked to us. And we've got the cash. And they snap called, so they like their hand. They've got a draw. They've either got diamonds. I mean, who knows? Maybe they've got top pair. I don't know. But that was a snap call, so we're not doing much with this. We've only got a pair of 9s. Their diamonds came. We got. They had diamonds, I promise. Probably the ace of diamonds, probably a flush, a straight draw, maybe even a straight. And then the diamonds came. Ace, 9, 10, 4. Not good. Not good. We're out of position. It's automatically multi-way. Let's get out of here. We probably could have called that. Like we're such big stack at this point. We can. There's a certain school of thought that say when you're this much up, especially compared to everyone else at the table, you should just kind of play every hand and see what comes. But like I said, that begs the reverse equity stuff, the reverse implied odds stuff, where you actually lose money. And it's not a school that I subscribe to. It's definitely not how the pros play. Some pros play that way. Like I said, it's like if you're at a table where you can just think you're the best player at the table and you can kind of beat anybody. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, that's how I feel right now. I feel like I could beat anyone at this table. I think I'm probably the best player here, but I don't know that. I don't know that. But based on what they've shown me, yeah, they're not three betting. They don't seem to understand what hand values are. They're not making great moves. They're not. No one's being aggressive. This is this is a fishy table. It's a fishy table. There's not a studied Omaha player in here except for me. So I could probably just, you know what? Let's try it for a while. Let's see what happens. Let's just play every hand. We'll see where it goes. If but we'll bring in if we like our hand, and let's just play our equity. If we like it, we'll raise, and if we don't, we'll just call. But we'll play every hand, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that works out. Maybe we'll fold really just atrocious hands. Like I'm not playing like three jacks, three aces. Well, three aces I'd play, but like I wouldn't play four. Well, I wouldn't play four. Well, you might play four aces. I think it looks really good, but it's really bad because that means you can't get anything better than a pair of aces, but it blocks every flush. So if you're gonna play ace, 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 the way to play it would be if if straight if if any flush draw comes, you bet it hard. You have to bluff those. Those are bluffing hands. So bad hand. Four clubs is bad because we have two clubs. Like I said, there's only 13 of any suit. There's 13 times 4 is 52. There's only 13 of every suit. And we are blocking. So there are two less clubs that we could have. So we're just calling. But we hit the wheel, and we have a straight flush draw, and we have the nut straight draw. So we're just gonna half pot that. We want them to come in. This is the kind we want people to call us. Well, there's a potential full house out there. They called so fast. If we lose to a full house, we lose to a full house. We're gonna check it and we'll call. They had the straight too. It's fair. That's fair. Um, yeah. I'm getting. Oh, okay. My phone's been going off. This is a good hand, by the way. Ace, Jack, Queen, 3. 3 looks dangling, but it's to the wheel. We got 3 to Broadway, and we got a suited ace. That's a very good hand. We're gonna bet this. Yeah, we're gonna 3-bet this hand if we get bet. We're playing this one for sure. So we're gonna try our playing every hand strategy, see how that works, and if we drop below 200 big blinds, then we'll reassess. But we're running hot. Look at that. We hit jack shit. Well, we got a straight draw. We do have a straight draw, and we can't fold it. We could raise it. What do you think? Should we call this dumb min bet, or should we raise it up? Now we don't have the cards. Let's see if they do it. I mean, we're getting one 13 to 1 on our money. But that doesn't help when you don't have anything at all. We should have raised them. I don't think they would have folded, but maybe they would have. Oh, look at us. Look at us. Yeah, raising. Three betting. Just so you know, this is the kind of three bet hand that you might fold to a four bet because a four bet is almost 100% guaranteed to be aces at these stakes. But still, there's just so much that could happen here. There's so much potential for a hand like this. Broadway rundown with a suit and a pair. And it doesn't even matter. We just get it. Bad hand, we're still playing it because we're playing every hand. So we'll limp. There's other reasons you're not supposed to limp. There's rake and all that. If you'll notice, like right now, you see 3 point, the amount of big blinds. That's correct, but see, it went down 0.2. That's the rake that the casino takes out. So we have nines and threes. We have two pairs, so we're gonna bet it. We don't have any draws. We don't have any equity. We just have the nines and the threes. But we have two pair right now. It's not even. It's the worst two pair. It's good enough. So the playing every hand thing is working so far. Like I said, they're not three betting and we're running hot. That's a great hand, a fantastic hand. We're betting it. We would play this anyway in any position. King Jack 9-9 double suited to the Jack and the King is fantastic. So much equity. This is a great hand. And we missed hard. We have not much at all. But we do have nines, and threes scare people. So we're technically supposed to bet low. But since we have lots of stacks and we're scaring people, let's go ahead and throw a big bet in there just to bluff them off of the pot because we have jack shit. Let's scare them. We'll see if this person gets. I mean, if they have a three, they're, and there we go. We just win. Ace King 3-5 with a suited king. Thank you. Yes. Now I might not play that at a table where I thought I was going to get three better. We would get a lot of callers, but like this table, we kind of just gotta when the table's this tight and this weak, you kind of just gotta throw the captain's hat on and just start pushing people around. Look at that, we hit two pair. Good for us. And we have this ace. We don't have the flush draw, but we've got the nut. So like people are gonna be scared that their flush isn't good enough, even if they hit a flush. So if they're drawing the flush, the best they could have is the queen. So we can scare them away. We're gonna bet this. We're gonna pot it. Hey, want to play pot limit Omaha with me? We're playing it. We're on the big blind. We're playing it. Even if they bet, we're calling. It's a rundown. It's a wheel rundown with a dry ace and bad position. So this person says they've got something. It's not that great. So we're thinking like a pair of nines, pair of eights, a pair of something. Middle rundown, low rundown, pair of something shitty, pair of sixes, something like that. Not good enough to bet the pot, but they'll bring in. We'll see what happens. Nothing happens. Not our pot. Yeah, very, very, very bad equity here. Like, think of all the cards that could come that could make our hand better. We do have a backdoor straight. No, we don't even have the straight draw. We don't have any straight draw. We can't hit a straight here. Well, 4, 5, 6. So 6, 7 could come for our straight. Well, that's pretty terrible odds. So we've got runner, runner. We're not even calling that. We're not even calling one big blind. Because what could come? An ace? Would we feel confident with an ace? Other people play aces. They probably have a better kicker than us. I don't want to. If our clubs came, we have two of the worst clubs. We couldn't have a worse flush. We have the worst possible flush. It's just it's just bad hand. That's why you don't play hands like that generally. But low cards come, then you win. But look at this terrible hand. I said we weren't going to play anything, but goddamn, I definitely don't want to play this hand. I see I can't do it. I can't just like, oh, I'm going to play every hand and see what happens. Yeah, I could flop a full house. Probably not going to. They're just limping. They're so weak. Fuck it. We said we were going to until we dropped the 200. And we have a pair with a bad backdoor flush draw, and that's it. Pretty bad hand. Now we have two pair, and they checked. Good Christ. These players are so weak. So they're going to fold. He's going to fold. They don't have any. Oh, they're going to call. They're going to call. Well, now we just have tens and sixes, which is a terrible hand. Our two pair got counterfeited, and they like it. So they had something. They had a king. They decided to slow play their king 10, maybe. Maybe king king. Oh, no, they didn't have king king. They limped. They had jack. I mean, they had better hand than us, almost certainly. I can't do it. I can't do it, y'all. I can't play this terrible hand. I just can't. Good Lord, I have to go to the bathroom again. You know what? We've been playing a little bit. No, I want to keep playing. I'm having fun. I'm having fun and I'm running hot. I don't have anything doing. I'm not going anywhere. I am going to go to the bathroom again, so I will be back. My hand of God, choose some turkey and some cod if you please. All right. Maybe back. We're gonna sit out though. We'll wait till that big blind comes around again. Maybe we'll see. I jump back in. Ah, fuck it. I've got the. I can I can post and play. They're not gonna raise me. I wouldn't do that if I bought in, but I know what the table's like, and I'll post. I'll post my blinds that I sat out for. I'm fat stacked. They're weak. I think this person I saw is weak. They're up 44 big blinds. They're not doing badly, like in the scheme of things, but I mean the rest of these players are just like no one's showing any strength at all. It's just they're just chasing everything. There's just like, I just want to hit a big hand. I just want a big hand. And I cannot stress enough that is the incorrect way to play poker. I think a lot of people just I don't know what they think. That's the thing is it's hard to see that they're gamblers. Is they're like, I'm playing poker. It's cheap. It's no money. It's just for fun. Like I can't wait. I want to hit a royal flush. It's like I've hit a royal flush before. I've won more with a pair. Like I'd rather win bigger pot with nothing. Like it's you rarely win a lot of money when you have a royal flush. It's like I guess it's kind of cool looking to think about it, but like I mean, it rarely does much for you. I mean, you're gonna win the pot no matter what, but like, I mean, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to make money with quads. It's hard to make money with the strongest hands because people see them. That's why sets are so effective. People don't see sets. They're sneaky. Straights can be sneaky too, especially if they're kind of spread apart. But especially in Omaha. But people see flushes. People see quads. People see full houses. People see straight flushes. So what do we got happen? What do we got doing here? Yeah. We are dealt in. That's nice. Oh yeah. We're playing that. We're betting it. I'm gonna pot that. We got a good hand, and we're already in. There we are. Free money. 5, 6, 10 king. Remember, we're playing loose. We're playing loose. We're just playing. There we go. Now we really shouldn't call that. We really shouldn't. But we get one time. But then I'm already uncomfortable. It's a bad call. Oh, not anymore. It's not. Now it's a fucking fantastic call. Now that we hit our straight flush draw and our flush. We don't have the best flush and they bet it. And now we have a full house draw and a quads draw. Still have a straight flush draw. Still have a flush. What we don't have right now, but we block. Oh, we're doing so well. Um, we're gonna pot it. We don't have a straight flush draw. I'm wrong about that. A terrible hand, and we still won. Yeah, poker. When oh yeah, yeah. Uh-huh. Oh no, that dangling four sucks shit. Tell you what, we'll min raise. I mean, when poker, like when you flop this well and you run as hot as I'm running right now, poker's easy. Poker's easy if you get the cards. So we got this person seat two here. Seat two is a player. That's the first three bet we've seen in a long time, and so We could say that means that's the second time. Well, no, they raised us before, but we're still gonna call it, even though we're playing loose. And look at that, we hit two pair, a straight draw, a flush draw, and the straight flush draw. Yeah, we check to you, Razor. We check to you, three better. Oh really? Oh really? We'll call. We'll call. We won't raise you. We don't have the straight. We don't have the straight, and they very well could. It's so easy for them to have the straight. Oh, that hurts. That hurts. That hurts. That is not the card we wanted to see. Though they probably have. I King Ace, Queen Ace. I promise they have Queen Ace. I think we gotta lay this down. I think we gotta lay this down. Shit. God damn it. Yeah, we gotta lay it down. We should we should have called the three bet. They might have ace ace. They probably have ace ace actually. And it's not unreasonable that they might have ace ace queen in their hand when they bet like that. We'll see. We're watching them though. Player two, see they're folding, so they seem aggressive. But they could have just had two good hands, you know. And that was the only three bet we saw from them. The other one was just a raise. That doesn't mean much, you know. We'll check. We can't lose. We can't miss. Oh, that's wild. Jacks, top pair. Bad kickers. It's still a bad hand. Even now with the jacks, I don't feel great. I like the eights, so the eights are great blockers. So we block all the straights with our eights. So we'll call 6, 7, 8, 8. We block that. So what we're gonna do is we have to pretend we block it so well that we have to fake like we have it. But that's a snap call. But it's not a raise. So they could have jack. I mean, we have the jack. They could have 10-10. We do not have a straight, but now ace king's there. Not any combination. We got our ass kicked. We don't have this hand, and we can't bluff it anymore because we don't have the blockers. Our blockers are no longer valuable, and they've both shown interest in it. Too many things came that can beat us, and we're just beat. So we sunk a lot of chips into this bullshit hand. And this is why you don't play these fucking hands. Because we have to fold this now. Look at that. King Ace. Told you. What did that guy have? What did player three have? Ace, 8, 10, 10. So they had trip tens. So we were toast from the beginning. Yeah. But we would have hit our straight too. Uh, but it would have been a bad straight. It wouldn't have been worth anything. We're not playing. Yeah, we're not playing Jack Queen 3-9. Okay. I said I'd do it until we went down to 200. Guess what? I don't want to go down to 200. I want to go up to I want to go up to 800. So let's go back to playing correctly. Yeah, fuck that school. I don't like it. Play every hand. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. So our hand looks good here, but is in fact not. Even there, our hand looks great, but it's actually quite terrible. We have pair of threes over twos, and they beat us with threes and sixes. It's terrible. Ace 10 4 8 isn't great, but it's a suited ace on the button. So if no one, we're gonna play it essentially, and we're gonna bet it since no one brought in before us. I want to watch player two. Are they gonna three bet us? And if they do, I should have looked back and see what they three bet us with. Oh no, we didn't see because we folded out to them. Okay, so they didn't. So look at that. We hit trip aces. There's no way we can win a lot of money here, so we have to bet small and just kind of extract as much as we can from them. We couldn't even get them in with two, and fair enough. Fair enough. I mean, I probably wouldn't call much. They would have had to had a queen, and if they had queen, queen, we're toast. But like they didn't. They clearly didn't. And those are the chances. They'll let you know when they have the big hands. So you, especially in the early betting, you got to bet big. You gotta bet with strength. Uh this is a good hand, even though it blocks. It's a block, even though it blocks ourselves. It's still we've got ace king. We've got a suit that we block, but like we've got two to Broadway, three to the wheel. It's a super good high low hand if you ever played high low. We're not playing high low though, so it's not that great a regular Omaha hand. This is a terrible hand. We're gonna fold it. Bad hand, bad hand, bad hand. If you would like to kind of learn, there's a couple websites you can go to, and there's all sorts of YouTube stuff you can watch. But anything on the post PLO Mastermind YouTube channel is great. If you want to learn how to play PLO, listen to those guys. I learned initially from a guy named Josh something or other. He calls himself the PLO professor. He's based out of Michigan. He's a fun guy. And he's a pro, but like he plays weird aggressively and live, but he really does know what he's talking about, and he is really good. But he gives the advice that he gives for playing PLO is for playing live PLO, which is different than online. And it is still good advice, but it's a good place to start. Let me put it that way. That's a good place to start because PLO can be really intimidating if you don't understand what hand values are, what constitutes a good hand and what doesn't, and how much equity you actually have. That just comes with playing. Ace 10, 9, queen, we are calling because we're blocking our own suit. Otherwise, we'd be raising. If that 9 was any other suit, we would raise. And we don't love it. So we're checking. We especially don't like it now. Our our hand is almost certainly no good. So we're not putting a single red. We're not putting another piece of anything. Hopefully it just checks down and our ace is good. It's not. Ace 10 10 9 playing. Good hand. Suited ace. Pair of tens. Relatively close together. Lots of straight draws. Good flush draw. Good pair. Good strong hand. It's not a premium hand. And it is a hand good enough to call a 3-bet. It is not, because that means aces or kings. In this case, we block the ace, so it's probably kings, but it means a monster. These players, especially this person that's been there limping, not doing anything, they've got a monster, I promise. And watch, you'll see, they're just going to keep betting. They have a made hand already. So this is a terrible flop for them, and they're still going to bet it. Probably pot. They're upset. They're like, I've got a great hand, and I hate that flop. They don't have diamonds, probably. They might, I don't know. But they're not betting pot right away, so they're angry. So they bet half pot. So like, well, I've got too good a hand. But maybe it's jacks. It's probably kings. They probably don't have diamonds. Maybe they do. Uh-oh. They definitely have diamonds. Maybe they have a straight, but that's diamonds. That was a diamonds bet. That was I have the ace of diamonds in my hand bet. They don't. They don't. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Great hand to get out of. Great hand to not have been in the first place. What did we even have a piece of that? I don't think so. Yeah, no, we had nothing. A bad straight draw. Playing. We're calling it anyway. 6-7-4-4. We don't like the fours, but it's double suited and they're all connected. Double suited low midland cards. We have the chance to do very well. We have equity. We have equity. Uh you don't love that flop. We don't love it. It's all higher cards than us, so it doesn't hit our range at all. And our draw, even if we hit our 9, we'd have the ass end of the straight. So especially with Broadway in play. So we're not that excited. I'm not even calling. I'm not even calling a single bet. I mean, even if we do get that 9, and we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 8, 9, 10 jack is there. Like, and then look at that. The flush came. Reverse implied odds, reverse implied odds. Get the hell out. Get out, get out, get out, get out, get out. We were right to get out. We would have had a pair of 7s with our terrible hand. Pair's not worth much in pot limit Omaha. Pair's worth a lot in any pair is a relatively decent hand in Texas Hold'em. Kind of the worst hand you wanna play to the river and without equity is top 2 pair. That's gonna be the worst hand that takes down a pot generally, if there's any amount of betting involved. King 997. We're gonna min raise. It's not great. I don't love it. It's playable. It's not good. Remember our 7.5 chance at flopping a set. Plus 9s are good enough where you can could potentially be top set, but they're usually not. They almost don't stay top set. And not our hot streak has been cooled. It's only been a few hands. It's only been a few hands, but we ran really hot for a while. So I am feeling like I am going to tighten up. We should have bet. I failed by not betting. I'm not paying attention. I'm just thinking. And I'm getting cocky. We should have bet that flush. I don't think they have it. We should have just bluffed there. We're going to bet it now. We shouldn't have waited, though. But it doesn't matter. Either way, we take down the pot. No, thank you. Better hand, please. Look at, they're just limping. They're just limping. None of them have a hand. They just want to see the flop. They just want to see the flop so bad. That's what this tier is. And so, yeah, we're doing pretty well. I think if I make it up to 300, I'm going to call it. It's been a good run. I'm feeling good. And no one's watching the stream. Someday decide you want to watch this. It's a good show, I think. I think it's fun. I like talking about Pot Limit Omaha. I'm talking a lot of talk. I hope it's good talk. Hope it's valuable. 7, 6, 10, 6. Yeah, we're playing it. Even in early position, even in the low jack, we're still playing it. It's a bad. I should have folded it. It's a GTO fold for sure. We're not playing GTO though, are we? No, far from it. Yeah, we're not playing GTO, not here. Not at this table. This table ain't playing no GTO. Game theory optimal is what that means. Game theory optimal play. They've plugged every combination of every card, and a supercomputer has there's apps called solvers that just know exactly what to do, where they can play the perfect hand of poker every hand and the exact right way to play cards so you maximize profit every time. No one can beat you. Solvers are great, but they're expensive. Like, I can't afford it. I can't afford a solver. I would love to have a solver and study a solver. That would be great. We're going to call that. We have two suits. Well, we'll see if they call it. Oh, no, we're not going to call it anymore. That three sucks shit. The six high sucks shit, but they are kind of together, and it is double suited. I gotta call it. And we do have backdoor flush draw. Got shot straight. Not to that, though. Not to that. Five. We need a five. All the only thing that can help us here is a five. Even diamond, diamond, unless it's the ace and the king. Like, ooh, I'm getting out of here. Shouldn't have called, shouldn't have called, shouldn't have played, shouldn't have raised from early position. Not with that hand. It's just not good enough. Oh, look at that. That comes. Yeah, they've got something. Probably aces. Maybe three sevens. At least aces. Probably a set. Probably a strong set. Maybe even a set that turned into a straight. I'm not playing this hand, by the way. Not on the small blind. Not good enough. Not good enough for any position, really. Oh, all right. We're gonna go ahead and click the sit up the next big blind button, and I'm gonna play one more orbit, and then I'm calling it. I feel okay. Played well. Won. Increased my bankroll. I've been on a losing streak lately. It sucked. So I have to recoup that by playing well. Downswings suck. Still, you gotta keep playing. What do? You raise. You call. You call. In the big in the button you can call. We're okay with this. We're super okay with this. We love this. What you do, homie? You don't do much. A 3/4 pot bet. Not pot, 3/4. Betting our equity. With good equity. Very good equity, actually. Good enough. 7-6-10-4. Not good. No position can play that hand. Don't even defend it with the big blind. It's a hideous, atrocious, terrible hand. So, if you're watching this post-mortem, since I don't think there is anyone in this stream. If you're watching this in post on YouTube or on Twitch later, last thing, I'm gonna send this home again. In Pot Limit Omaha, the only thing, there's a lot going on. Poker is a complicated game, a lot of things happening. Pay attention, but try to put your other people on ranges. Like, these are the cards they could have based on the way they're playing. These are the hands they could have based on the way they're playing. Is it based on what they've done, how they've bet so far? What don't they have? That's a good question to ask. What don't they have? Like I said, if you see someone limp in, you know they don't have ace, ace, or king, king. That's what you know. If they bet big and it's a wet board, you can probably think that they usually have that if they're not betting big a lot. If they limp in, they limp in, they limp in, and then all of a sudden they 3-bet, well, you know they've got a monster. So you just got to pay attention. You got to watch for patterns, and you got to bet your equity. You got to know what your hand is worth. And we're playing this. We're potting it. 2-pair. Remember, 1 in 7.5 is you flop a set. So if there's 2-pair in your hand, it's twice that. It's 2 in 7.5, whatever that is. Whatever you want to do, 1 in 3.75. So 1 in 4 chance that I'm going to flop a set here. You bet it. You bet those odds. And I did not. So we still got a pair of 10s though. So we'll call. Sure, we'll call one big blind. When players do this, it usually means they have like bottom pair, maybe a 7, maybe a draw. Yeah, they don't like it anymore. Well, we don't like it either, but we still have 4 outs to catch. Yeah, we didn't get anything. I mean, our pair of 10s very well may be good. No, it's not. I mean, they didn't bet queens or kings. They could have a straight, right? 6-8. 6-8. I think they have 6-8. I don't think they have kings. We're gonna fold. We don't have much. I mean, they could have just bet their pair of 9s. Probably not though. They probably had 6-8. You think that's good with the queens, but it's not. And it's early position. Nah, we're done. We're done for the day. Thanks for watching. My name is Amanda Bonanza. I'm with the Transverse. Watch Being Trans with Lilith and Amanda live every Saturday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and 1900 Universal Time. We're going to do this mediocre poker afterwards every time. I don't know when exactly. I'll probably sort of start on a time. I was like, let's aim for 2:30. 2:30 every Saturday. 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern, and that would be what, 19, like 2 in the morning. 1:30 Universal Time. Thanks for sticking around. Catch our show, watch our show Transition Tuesday on the Transverse. Go to our merch store, do all that stuff. See, this isn't even a good hand even here. You think we've got a straight? We don't have a straight draw. We got nothing. We got nothing. Pair of queens. We got blockers. Anyway, thanks so much.